Rapid reaction shot.
Is that overkill? I don't know. Maybe it was. Kind of like Georgia's defense. The Georgia Bulldogs, back-to-back SEC champions as they defeat Alabama Crimson Tide 28-7. And they took a blowtorch to Alabama's offense. And just because of that, we're smoking victory cigars, Smooch.
Indeed we are, man. You know, we thought it would be a physical, just beat-em-up game. I did not know how much that type of game would favor the Dogs. But as soon as the Dogs dictated this was going to be a slugfest, not a shootout, as soon as that happened, there was a huge difference in these two teams and who was ready to go into the deep water, Troop Brinson.
Yeah, and Georgia got a couple of plays early in this game because there was a couple of punts earlier for both teams, and then Georgia got a blocked punt, and Georgia got an interception. They capitalized on both of those.
Yeah,
but 14-0, and we were still like, we want more. We want more.
It's never enough. Not against that team.
We have seen way too much not to want more against this game, but the mystique is gone. Saban's not there, and there's no backup quarterback that's coming in to save them. And Georgia's defense, in the end, the defense that struggled the first half of the season has grown up, Smooch.
Yes.
And they brought consistent pressure, all night. Every play. Simpson, they devoid of any rushing attack because there's a key stat, folks. If you didn't know, -3 yards rushing. -3 for the Crimson Tide. That's not SEC football, but if you're questioning where Georgia's defense is, they stopped the run. Kirby Smart said going into the season, we're going to stop the run and we're going to run the ball. Yep. He accomplished both, and he won his second consecutive SEC championship.
100%. And the thing that amazed me about the defense, well, I should say the team as a whole, our whole concern earlier in this season, which our concern was great early in the season, right, is that though this team was good, they didn't look like a Georgia football team. Hold on, I dropped my cigar. Let me grab it.
He's got it. He's going to pick it up, folks. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. It rolled. But anyway, it didn't look like a Georgia football team. Tonight looked like a Georgia football team. Defense, special teams, Cole Spear showing up. Yeah. And the special teams came through, defense came through, and all of those scores, except for one, right, were set up by short fields by the defense. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, all but one. And one of the short fields, the second touchdown, interception off with Dalen Everett, it was a bogus call where he got his face mask grabbed, and they just let that one go and called him for stiff-arming a guy in his face mask, which put the Bulldogs on the other side of the 50. They still a shorter field, but not like it was 10 yards. Yeah. And they scored their second touchdown on that one. And then we saw the only touchdown Alabama scored, Smooch, was really aided and just some wild plays and some DeMello Jones. We love him. Did not have his best game. He did not get any calls to benefit him whatsoever. But he did get when you throw balls up for grab and you throw them short, PIs are going to come. But he didn't have a great game. We just say that anyway. That they were aided in like 45 yards. It was at least 45 yards in penalties. On their lone touchdown drive.
You've even got to add in a 12-yard sack that was negated by the first DeMello penalty. The personal foul.
Yeah, so
it's actually more like 55 yards altogether that it cost Georgia in actuality, and that was the only Alabama scoring drive.
Yeah, bottom line is Georgia does win the SEC championship, top team in the SEC again, and they will be a top 4 seed, probably number 3. I would say where they should land. Maybe number 2. Maybe 2. I should move back.
Ohio State, that we're recording this in between Georgia and Ohio State games.
It will be 2 right then. It will be number 2.
If Ohio
Unless
State,
they decide to put them ahead of Ohio State.
Right. So if Ohio State, especially if they beat Indiana by 2-3 scores, you'll see Georgia in the 2 spot, which is a sweet spot to be in.
I think Georgia's in the number 2 spot anyway. Yeah, if Indiana loses, they're going to be 3 or 4, or if not out, depending on what that game looks like. And Alabama, they are, folks. I promise you, when we come back on for our full show in a couple of days, I'm already been on the Alabama board. I'm going to see what all their fans are saying and how, but we'll know by then because tomorrow we'll know if they're in or out and who's in or out.
Right.
With the committee, the college football playoff, decisions on who's making the top 12. But Let's look at some stats because you folks want to know those. And this is a return to the Georgia defense. I felt so weird early in the season because I had said leading into this season that Georgia's defense was going to take a step up. This will be a defense much more similar to 21 and 22 instead of what you've seen in the last 2 years in 23 and 24.
Right. And then we backed off of it. Yeah. Right.
I looked like I didn't know what I was saying. I just kind of moved away from those comments. But I knew the talent, and you've seen as those folks, those guys, those players have grown up, they're difference makers. In the past 3 games, Smooch, they've given up, 2 touchdowns? They didn't give up any touchdowns to Georgia Tech. One against Charlotte.
Yeah.
None, just that one penalty-aided touchdown against Alabama. So they're back, and they are something to be reckoned with. The stats will tell you, Georgia with just under 300 yards of total offense, 297 to 182 for Bama. Passing yards, not a huge game for it. Felt like Alabama's really good in their pass defense. They're good at disguising what they're going to do pre and post snap.
Right.
And Gunnar Stockton did have 156 yards passing. Bama had 185 yards passing, mitigated by their negative 3 yards rushing. And you cannot win any kind of game against a team with a pulse with one-dimensional, and Georgia will make you pay for it. That's why you saw so much pressure on Simpson, because they were not concerned with any running game. They were coming after him, and it was beautiful.
They stopped the running game for most of this game with 3 or 4 players on the line. They had to dedicate no linebackers on some plays to stopping the run. It was an outstanding performance. And I was going to say, let's not forget Gunnar Stockton with 3 touchdown passes, right? So even in those modest numbers, that's highly effective.
41 yards rushing for the Dawgs, 16 first downs to 11. Here is a huge difference in the first game to this game. Only 3 of 14 for Bama on third downs. Not 13 for 19, 3 of 14.
Ooh,
Georgia 6
better.
of 16. Much better. Georgia with 67 total plays and Bama with only 55. 3 sacks for Georgia, 1 for Alabama. Penalties. The only thing that benefited Alabama was penalties. Georgia had 80 yards in penalties, and they only had 5.
So clean. How'd they play so clean, Drew?
They're so good. They're so disciplined everywhere they play. Only 5 yards of penalties.
Obviously, they're greatly disciplined.
Yes. We see. We know. Wink, wink. We know how. When Georgia took a 14-point lead, we were all talking on our chat group. Okay, get ready, because here comes the penalties to keep Bama in this game, and it wasn't enough for them. Still not. The big numbers were Georgia had, let's see, almost 30. Let's go ahead and say this, round it up. 37 minutes of time of possession. Georgia did only 23 for Alabama, 37 to 23, and they just controlled it, controlled the game, did whatever they wanted to do. Never were at risk. Never after they scored those 14 points, and we were like, please score some more. Don't give them any kind of breathing room. And Georgia was never in danger whatsoever. But you're right. Let me look at those other stats. When we look at Gunnar Stockton, Smooch, his first touchdown pass was to Roderick Robinson.
There's been a sighting.
We talk about tendency breakers at this point in the season. You put Roderick Robinson in the background, what do you think he's going to do, Smooch?
Block. He's going to block, or he's going to take a short dive up the middle. There's the only 2 things he's going to do.
That's it. He stumbled and went out, still stumbled and still found a way to get outside and catch a short touchdown pass to get the scoring started. So, then the second touchdown pass was another third down play, I believe, to Dylan Bell in tight coverage right across the middle.
A bullet of a pass,
Yeah, Dylan Bell makes the reception. And then they did score again, and that was Nate Frazier. Nate Frazier did score on a third touchdown, I think, right?
He scored the third. The fourth was Isaiah Branch on the Branch on the little screen. The screen they run all the time. Yeah.
Proverbial nail in the coffin, Branch. And all you folks who hate screens, Branch is so good because he's so elusive. And we were saying early, because Georgia was running too many screens, they're setting something up. And they could have. They just didn't need it.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Troop? I wanted to make this point because we get so sick of seeing it. But Georgia runs that play so much. It is no more dangerous for Georgia to run that play than it is to do a running play. They run it so much. And so they're in a situation, right? They run up the middle 2 times in a row. It appears to Alabama these guys are going to run the ball 3 times and kick a field goal to go up those 3 scores. And they go to that play, a play that they're more familiar with than any other play because they run it constantly. It caught Bama totally by surprise. As soon as Branch got his feet, he waltzes into the end zone, and the nail in the coffin. The coffin was nailed at that point.
It was nailed. And we were like, okay, let's start setting up our computers and our equipment. Let's get ready to get our cigars ready, right. Our lighters ready, and celebrate another SEC championship. And it sets Georgia up so well. But what it really does for Georgia fans, because we felt coming into this game, if we even found a way to lose it, and that was looking at the past and history, good chance we would.
It's possible, yes.
The worst we would be looking at as a number 6 seed.
Right. Which isn't bad.
And still a home game. But now Georgia looks at we don't maybe play until close to New Year's.
Right.
So they got some time to get healthy, and I don't think that I feel like Georgia was more healthy than we knew coming in, because we didn't see Noah Thomas, we didn't see Aguero at all. Both of those guys banged up.
Right, and Dinkins, he actually played pretty well.
Dinkins came in and looked like he'd been playing for 3 years.
One of Robbins represent, baby. That's right.
He looked great.
Yeah.
Everybody been asking for Rashad Dinkins, true freshman, and Georgia continues to use those guys. But you didn't see Tolliver cost Georgia anything.
Mm-mm.
But I think Georgia's offensive game plan was working around Tolliver's inexperience.
Yes, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
It did feel that way. It felt like Gunnar Stockton was a little bit gun shy to sit back there early on in the first half, especially. He got more comfortable in the second half. Mm-hmm. But in the first half, he was looking to run or looking to roll out.
Make your first read and then either go or check it. That was the plan in the first half, and I think it's exactly right. If you remember, was it when the Dawgs lost to Notre Dame in the playoff last year? It was because of disastrous plays from trusting the offensive line, right? Disaster, strip, sack, fumble right before the half to another score, and it snowballed from there. They were doing their best to avoid that. That's the play calling. The strategy was get rid of the ball in case there's a massive breakdown in the line, but there wasn't, and you saw them trust it more and more as the game went on.
That's Kirby Smart. That's Kirby Smart football. He does that in every aspect of the game. He's definitely risk averse.
Yeah,
we see it, and it drives us crazy.
Sure.
Towards the end of the half, he is determined. Whether he scores or not, he wants to score, but he will not. He does not want to give the other team an opportunity to put points on the board.
Yeah,
and so he will make plays, run clock. He wants to get to within 30, 45 seconds, and then he feels like I'm good. Now I'm going to try to maybe get in field goal range or something big happens, I'll score. But no. That's Kirby Smart. So we're trying to make sure they didn't give up anything explosive defensively for Bama early in that game, but they could change the trajectory of the game.
Right.
And great job. We have our feelings going. I mean, during the game, but then looking back at it, we're like, damn, that was a great game plan. And then after the game, I did hear the quick post game interview, and he gave credit to all the defensive coaching staff, Glenn Schumann, of course, as well, because people were questioning Glenn Schumann early on in the year. But young team takes time. And these guys, when I watch the game back, I'm going to be really excited to see who some of these linebackers were and some of the defensive backs and what they did, because they were all there was not much space for Alabama to operate, Smooch.
No, and they just kept running other ones. There's a big play by Zayden Walker, right, on a sack at the end of the game where Simpson outruns 99% of linebackers in the SEC getting around that edge. He had no shot. And on top of that, you got a true freshman that has the discipline not to horse collar tackle him, because that was the exact kind of angle he had. And he doesn't. He still wraps him up and gets him down. They just kept running these kids onto the field, and they kept getting better. I will tell you this. I thought about this right as the game was ending. Schumann called such a good game on defense, it's going to make it hard to keep him. He's probably rocketing to the top of other teams' wish lists right now.
Yeah. But Georgia does find a way. And the two big plays early on, of course, were the Cole Spear block punt, and it was actually on the interception, it was a Sampson throwing into traffic, Bolden with the tip.
Yep.
And then somehow Dalen Everett again makes that pick.
If it's the title game, Dalen Everett's picking the ball off. It's the title game. Yeah.
But it was what we wanted to see. We wanted to see some of these guys get. It feels like there was so much cushion early in the season for the quarterback to throw into. That was not the case. And a couple times when Georgia had some room to operate in terms of the score and the strategy, they left some room. And the only player that really, the Swainsburg guy, really is going to have a tough time sleeping tonight was DeMello Jones. They went after him, and it was some reasons for that in terms of the situations and the pressure. But he'll be better for that. He missed a couple of tackles, even before the penalties. He missed a couple of tackles that he makes so often
and
against Ryan Williams, who
and
is one of the toughest guys to tackle in space.
But he got caught flat-footed against Ryan Williams, which you never see. Dalen's an attack. Mello, thank you. Mello is an attacker, right? And he got caught flat-footed, waiting to see what Ryan Williams do, and you're not gonna match him move. You got to dictate his move.
It's not a recipe,
brother. With the ascension of Ellis Robinson, along with the play of DeMello in this season, Dawgs are set up really good at that position for the next few years.
They are. So the defense has grown up. And that was the key to the game today. If Georgia's defense doesn't play like they do, maybe Georgia doesn't score 28 points. I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. But when you get 21 points, you give Kirby Smart 21 points and a cushion, he's going to run the clock.
He's a boa constrictor. Yep.
He will squeeze you tightly and walk you into deep water and see how hard you want to swim.
That's right.
And Alabama didn't have an answer. That was the thing. They really didn't even – there was no creativity. There was nothing happening where you're like, other than that crazy double pass.
That hook and ladder thing, yeah.
You don't see that. That play only happens when you're about to get beat. It doesn't happen any other time.
That's right.
As a sign of defeat when that play comes out.
I was surprised. I had a few Alabama people messaging me here during the game, and they were frustrated and surprised with exactly what you just said, the lack of adjustments. They didn't really seem to adjust at all. It looked to me like they ran the same approach, strategy the entire game, and just focusing on execution. But when your quarterback only has 2 seconds to get rid of the ball, and you got seemingly, even my father-in-law was watching the game with him. He said, "How many players does Georgia have in the secondary tonight?" I said, they're just in the right place tonight. That's all it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, we just want to give you a quick shout. And it's been a great week for the Dawgs Show. You can always go on Twitter. We've been talking about a lot of stuff this past week. But we promise you a rapid reaction, and it's an SEC championship. Georgia wins again, back-to-back. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I do anticipate they will be a number 2 seed. And hopefully that is advantageous to them going forward. And they have a good matchup. They're playing some of their best ball. We got to get Gunner back a little bit and playing sharper, and that will, I think the offensive line gelling a little bit more will help that. They were really, really trying to mitigate the possible issues with a new center tonight, and they did. They definitely did, so you can't fault anything on it. 28-7 SEC championship. It was right in between what me and Smooch said. I said 30-24. Give Alabama too much credit. Smooch said a little bit lower scoring.
21-13 was
13. And we didn't know what Glenn Schumann had in store for the Alabama Crimson Tide, making them one-dimensional.
What a night.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. For Smooch Moncrief, this is Troop Brinson. This has been a rapid reaction. 28-7 Dawgs.
Go Dawgs.